Well, color me surprised, but exactly a week after FarmFolks released their most recent update stating that they'd be doing weekly dev blogs, we got our very first weekly dev blog. Crazy, right? Hi everyone, my name's DoctorDDub, and today we're going to be going over FarmFolks weekly dev blog number 1. If they do indeed keep these up on a weekly basis, as you would expect from a weekly dev blog, you can expect these videos to be much shorter and much less edited than my usual FarmFolks coverage, but I still want to get this information out to you guys in a timely manner, so let's get right into it. First up, they've explained why the mighty animal cube was removed. In short, they weren't happy with the way animals worked, so they pulled animals from the current build entirely, and will reintroduce them once some of the bugs have been worked out and some new features have been added. They're also going to be removing fence gates temporarily because of the way enclosures, or a pen for your animals made out of fences and a gate, currently work, and replacing them with signposts? Not sure how a signpost is a substitute for a gate, or if it's even supposed to be, or if they're going to be adding gates back eventually, but signposts! You'll be able to build them all over your farm and actually customize what they say. How cool is that? We don't know exactly when animals will be added back into the game, since FarmFolks has done away with this whole "this feature will be ready by this date" mantra, which, for the record, I am behind 100%. But whenever they do, we'll be getting cows, chickens, and FarmFolks' equivalent of a pig, molos. Thanks to Ethan, all 3 of these animals will be animated and will include animations for when they're happy or sad, among other emotions, clearly indicating how they're feeling. The animations all look pretty good so far, so I'm actually pretty excited to see them in the game. Animals will also be able to sparkle, shiver, or stink, which they say we'll learn more about in next week's dev blog. I'm going to assume they'll sparkle when they're as happy as can be, shiver when left out overnight or possibly not provided proper warmth in winter, and stink when they need to be cleaned or bathed. If any of those speculations are true, that'll make me, and hopefully a lot of you, care that much more for your animals. Mitch, the project lead, has also apparently decided he's going to put on his artist hat and create assets for the game. So far, all we've seen from him is a mailbox, which has already made its way in front of what will eventually be the post office in Port Meridia, and a flower pot. The more people making art for this game, though, the better, in my opinion. Good job, Mitch. And believe it or not, that's actually all the update had to say, aside from thanking people for submitting bugs and providing feedback. Short and sweet. But before we close it out, I want to end with a little segment I'm hoping to include in each of these weekly update videos. Since I know most, or at the very least a few of the developers watch these videos, why not provide some feedback directly to them? If you guys ever have any feedback about the game or these weekly dev blogs, leave it down in the comments and maybe your comment will make it into this segment in a future video. I'd also like to come up with a catchy title for this segment, so if you have any ideas, I am all ears. For today, though, I want to provide feedback on this update, and not even so much about the content within it, but more of the update itself. So, let's begin. Dear devs, since we'll be getting dev blogs every week, why not build upon them to hopefully improve the information being communicated? To start off, I'd like to see updates from every team member, like you said you'd do. To quote last week's dev blog, these bite-sized blogs will detail the work done by each team member over the course of the week. Well, after reading this week's blog, we'd know Ethan has been working on animal animations and effects, Casey's been removing gates, adding signposts, and is likely working on the animal system as a whole, and Mitch has taken up his 3D paintbrush. But what about Nick? What about Eliana? How about Linda? Or even Dan, their concept artist? I personally know the answer to some of those questions because I watch Nick's dev streams and read every single post on their Discord server, but what about everyone else who only reads these updates or watches these videos? Secondly, and my final criticism of this update, is the somewhat confusing communication about what's in the game now versus what is being worked on for the future. You say that part of this update is changing how we handle gates and enclosures. Which update? The one we have right now? The one you're working on and plan to release next? An update sometime in the future? It's a bit unclear. Other than that though, keep the information coming. I think it's going to be great to finally get weekly updates, and maybe it'll even cause the hype train to regain some steam that was lost during the great overgrown silence of 2019. Keep up the great work though, devs, and I'll talk to you next week. Sincerely, Doc. Alright then, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to do it for today's video. If you have any questions or comments about the game or this dev blog in particular, please ask away and I'll do my best to answer. If you enjoyed this video though, don't forget to give it a like, and if you want to stay up to date with all things FarmFolks, consider subscribing, as I cover pretty much everything FarmFolks and plan to do so long after release. Thank you guys so much for watching though, and I'll see you in the next one. Until then, as always, take care.